obviously Shawn Porter just fought.
Yeah.
He had a fight with Adrian Granados. I know you tweeted to him about that, but what did you think about that fight? What did you think about the performance?
Didn't watch it.
Oh, really?
Didn't watch it.
Wow.
Word of mouth says he ain't look that good. That's what they saying in the streets. I don't know. That's where I got my info. So in St. Pete, they said, you know, I guess maybe after he hurt his hand, he wasn't as active, you know, which is respectable. But for the fans in the moment, they didn't know what was happening. All they see is, I guess, Shawn taking a few more punches than he was a few rounds before. I didn't hear anything about early on in the fight. Heard there was some headbutts. Heard Shawn was rough and tough like usual. Some wrestling. But you know, we know Shawn is tough. But Garado, people say he beat AB. Word on the street is, you know, AB didn't do good either against him. So it just sounds like, you know, Garado might not be that guy that everybody knows, but it sounds like in the boxing ring, he's someone to respect.
Yeah.
Because he put on a show against AB, one that people believe he might have deserved the win, you know, and then he was able to have spurts where he looked good against Shawn Porter. This is what I heard. I didn't get to see that fight. I also didn't even see the AB fight against Garado, so I don't know what he's like as a fighter, and I don't know Shawn's last performance. But like I said, I do know he does hold the position that when I'm active, and he keeps saying he's waiting on me. He wants me. It was fight of the year. I believe us two in the ring again would be another dynamic performance. But I would like to separate myself and show him why, you know, why I'm champ and why he's barking up the wrong tree if he's trying to see another world title. So we'll see.
Do you think there's a possibility where you can, I mean, obviously your nickname's One Time. Do you think there's a possibility that you could potentially knock him out? I felt like you
know, that's another thing. You know, we rocked him a few times in the last fight, you know. Everybody's going to take the pros and cons of the last fight, you know. Obviously, I spent a lot of time on the ropes. I don't need to do that. I didn't do it in every round. There are certain rounds, especially a lot of the rounds that I won, I was not on the ropes. A lot of the rounds he did win, I was spending too much time on the ropes. So we'll take the pros and the cons, you know, but we were able to rock him, and we weren't able to close it out. So I would prepare myself to hopefully, if we re-land those kind of punches in a rematch, that hopefully we can do what we were unable to do the first time, which is close the show and have an early night if those opportunities present themselves. Because they presented themselves, but he held on the first one, he survived a few of the other ones, and he poker faced maybe another one. You know, I feel like I got him 3 times in that fight, but we never had the follow-up. So either we just got to hit him right the first time, or we have to come through with that follow-up. So we'll see what happens, man. He's a tough fight for anybody. Anybody in the world.
I know you actually, when you talked about Shawn's fight and you talked about the Danny fight, you actually felt like Shawn was a bigger challenge than Danny Garcia was.
I mean, just watch the fight round by round. I was in control of the Danny fight too much. Too much. It was going at any tempo I wanted it to go at, you know? The Porter fight was different. I didn't start off exactly how I wanted to, even though it was a little competitive. The second round, I didn't even want the second round. When I sat on the ropes, I was already committed to losing that round, you know? So, but I wanted to win the first round. I didn't mind losing the second, but I was gonna win the third and the fourth, right? Which gives me, going in the 5th round, I'm up 2 rounds, you know? And then I wanted to maintain that lead. The problem was, after the opening 4 rounds, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th, Shawn did more than I wanted him to do. He put himself really back in the fight. When I won the 8th round, I felt like it's a draw match. Ironically enough, post-fight, when I investigated the scorecards, after the 8th round, it was all 3 judges. 3 different ways of scoring, yet draw fight after 8 rounds.
Wow.
So I had a feeling in the ring that night. I said, this is not a 12-round fight. Going into the 9th round, I said, this is a 4-round fight, Keith. If you want to win, you win right now within 4 rounds. That's it. The fight, every round that just happened don't matter. You guys have been competitive up to this point. It's the last hour, which they thought they were going to have over me. But it was that last hour. I boxed smarter, I landed the cleaner shots, and I pulled out that victory. He put on a tremendous performance. It doesn't feel good to lose when you were competing so close in the race, you know? But, you know, I understand, and they want another shot at it. You know, I love Shawn Porter. I love Kenny Porter. I love their team, you know? We go way back. So, you know, and they deserve it. I know that, and I think it'd be a good fight, and he wants to get that W, and if we step in the ring again, I want to make a bigger statement. So there's stuff to be done.
Well, that's why I was kind of asking. If you felt like he was a bigger challenge, just maybe because of the style that he's presenting. He's rough and rugged in there.
It was the output, you know. Danny Garcia doesn't have the output. You know, there's different ways to challenge any man in the ring, but we know styles makes fights, and Shawn's output and aggression was more of a challenge than Danny's composure and counterpunching. So it's like solving a puzzle. You know what I mean? You got different difficulties. You know, you got the 500-piece puzzle, the 1,000 puzzle. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and not that Shawn's more complex than Danny, but it was a greater challenge for me on a personal note due to intense output, lack of output. I think Garcia, because of the lack of output for people like a Shawn Porter or me or a lot of different fighters, maybe even somebody like a Mikey Garcia, if Danny doesn't land that big punch, he doesn't have the output that's gonna give him those rounds he needs. That's how I feel. He could be easily outworked, and you can get victory. If you can outwork him and be defensive enough, you can get that victory.
Well, I feel like that also makes him a little bit more dangerous just because he does have a very aggressive style. So you don't know what, I mean, you might get hit by a punch, you might get hit by a headbutt, you might get hit by an elbow. Like, I know a lot of guys don't even want to fight him because
you just got to go through it. You just got to go through it.
Yeah.
Look, I nicknamed him a dog before anybody. I said he a dog.
True.
I said it, you know? And, you know, I guess they're trying to give him a stronger bite because they're not changing nothing. You know?
Right.
I think they're just trying to give him a stronger bite. So we'll see, man.
Yeah, you know.